Hi everyone, it's meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Monday, and we are going to focus our attention on what's going on today with respect to severe weather. By the way, let me just point out just a couple of things off the bat. I set up on the YouTube channel a area where I'm going to be putting up, let's call them instructional videos, and I did one yesterday that explains blocking, because that is going to be the next weather system, the next weather feature that we're going to be dealing with in the atmosphere. So it's kind of a, let's call it a primer on blocking and what it is and what it means and what it doesn't mean. So and it's a short video, so I'll be putting up things like this over the next few weeks as I have some time, and this way, those of you who want a better understanding of how the atmosphere works, you can always go back to those and take a look at what everything means and how everything works. Okay, so we've got the severe weather threat today, which shifts eastward. We saw over the weekend in the news the tornadoes. There was some incredible video that came out of the tornadoes that occurred in East Texas, just east of Dallas. There were fatalities, and there was destruction everywhere. So this was a very, very widespread severe weather and serious severe weather outbreak. The forecast today from the Storm Prediction Center showing a large area of slight risk of severe from northeastern Georgia all the way up into westernmost New England. In fact, this forecast looks like it may have just been updated a little bit. Looks like the risk area was taken in a little bit further away from the coast, which I think probably makes some sense. But the slight risk for New Jersey, for upstate New York, it had western New England and Long Island in there, but again, they just took it out, and the enhanced risk area that runs from northwestern North Carolina on up through interior Virginia, West Virginia, just about all of Pennsylvania in enhanced risk, and most of north central and western New York. One of the things that I'm thinking here is that the timing of the thunderstorms, at least for the areas from eastern Pennsylvania out to the coastline, is not going to be until after dark. And I just wonder, looking at what some of the models are doing today, how much of that is going to be left when it gets here. The other issue for the coast is the fact that as we look at some of the temperatures this morning and what's going on, I'm just going to just move this around a little bit. It's low 50s. We've had this marine air across Long Island, all of southern New England right now, in the upper 40s and actually mostly upper 40s across most of Connecticut, interior New York State upper 40s, the Hudson Valley upper 40s to around 50, and then you go down into southern New Jersey. You start to get the temperatures into the upper 50s, and same for southeastern Pennsylvania, upper 50s and low 60s. And then we get into the warm sector air, which is in the 60s and 70s to the south. The warm front is still down in northern Virginia, so it's going to take a little while, and we're going to have to see how far north it gets. It may wind up getting pinched off along the coast, and that's why I think the severe weather risk for the coast is going to be minimal, in my view, at least based on what I'm looking at the moment. So here is the radar. I'm going to update this, but you can see this was from last night around 11 o'clock, and you can see the very impressive swirl there. That's the upper air system, which is now moved up into northeastern Iowa, southwestern Wisconsin, and we have the trailing line of showers and thunderstorms well to the west. Notice there's very little going on. There's actually nothing going on other than light rain or drizzle along coastal areas, and most of these storms are shooting northeastward at the moment because this weather front is taking its time making eastward progress. Here's a satellite loop from last night. You can see how impressive this storm is. Its circulation covers pretty much all of the eastern United States, the eastern half of the United States. It's very, very impressive indeed. And here's the trailing cold front that is running down through the Ohio Valley to the southeastern Gulf. I'm laughing because if you're hearing a little crying, it's my dog. He's got. I'm talking to you guys. I'm scratching his ears, and he tends to get, especially now in his old age, it makes him very happy. Okay, sorry for that interruption. You get a lot of reality going on when I'm doing my weather videos. All right, you know what? Here's a look at the west. I'm going to update this, but we're going to come back to the western part of the United States in just a moment. So let's look at the latest HRRR model, and I want to show you why I'm not really overly bullish with regards to severe weather for areas along the coast. I think it certainly could happen today across western and central Pennsylvania. In fact, there's a fairly impressive line of storms that forms from western New York down through central Pennsylvania into western Maryland and northern Virginia. But as we move through the night, that line kind of narrows out and weakens. So I'm just wondering how much is going to be left of this once the daytime heating is cut off. I mean, I think that's a serious consideration with what we're seeing. Let me just see. Okay, I actually have one more run of the HRRR, and it looks like it's even weaker as we move through the overnight. So, the most impressive timing for the line will be for western Pennsylvania into West Virginia, western New York, till it gets, this is now at 7 p.m. Notice there's hardly anything going on through most of this area. This is 7 p.m. And after that, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., these storms really, I'm just wondering how much we're going to get out of this. When I say us, I'm talking about easternmost Pennsylvania into New Jersey and southeastern New York. I mean, look at this is at 1 a.m. tomorrow. There's very little left. I'm just really not overly impressed by all of this. All right, so a quick look at what we're going at with regards to the rest of the week, because everything that we talked about yesterday remains on course. We've been emphasizing the fact that we're going to get into a blocking pattern here, and that is still the case. So here's the GFS. Our front goes through. I don't see any really serious problems Tuesday or Wednesday, other than the fact that it's going to be turning cooler. It's going to take maybe a little time for the cool air to get in here. We might be in some cases tomorrow the situation where the temperatures behind the cold front are going to be warmer because there's no marine layer. So Tuesday and Wednesday to me look okay. Then we're starting to get into the next low, and there it is, a 94 low, which is fairly impressive for this time of year in southern Indiana. You get the arm of rain that comes in, looks like Thursday night, late Thursday night into Friday, a solid band of heavy rain for Friday, and then the low just kind of goes into southeastern Canada and just sits there with the upper air feature. So we're going to have very cold, unstable air aloft and very cool air down at the surface this weekend. So I would suspect that we'll see plenty of clouds and showers, on and off showers for Saturday and Sunday. Moving forward through day 9 and 10, we have another weather system that approaches for Mother's Day weekend, if we want to look ahead that far. And again, the blocking signature seems still to be there because the lows looks like it wants to track to our south. I want to look at the rainfall that's being generated from this. So let's take a look at that, because this could be a significant rain producer when it's all said and done. So, okay, so here we have it. I'm going to include, whatever falls Saturday through Saturday daytime. It's a pretty decent swath of 2-inch plus rains from Long Island, northern New Jersey, southern Connecticut. Every bit of a couple of inches of rain down into northern Virginia and Maryland, and on up through much of southern New England. Some heavy rains for upstate New York and north central New York. If this is right, I mean, this is all 2 to 4 inches plus. But just bear in mind that, from this standpoint of what models show, it's likely to change and kind of move around all the max areas of rain over the next couple of days and over the next several model runs. All right, to the west we go. And you can see the rainfall for the west through next week. I mean, actually I'll run it out to 10 days. It's some fairly significant rains, certain liquid precipitation for the Rockies, the central Rockies. A lot of that area has been under a drought. Even some rain showing up in the southwest, which has been rather dry. Some significant rains up in the northwest continue near the coast. But, I'm not, yesterday it looked like overall the weather in the west was going to calm down. So let's take a look at what it does on the surface. It would likely calm down because of the fact that we do have this blocking going on. So, so here we have, another low. This is going to be our low for the east. So we get into some rain into the Colorado Rockies for a little while before it moves up into the southern plains. By the way, I think there's going to be another severe weather outbreak in parts of East Texas, Louisiana, and the central Gulf Coast for later this week, probably Wednesday and Thursday. So I would look for that. But much of the West, we get these systems that come into the Northwest. They don't really look all that impressive. So much of the weather in the West is going to be, I think, in typical spring mode and maybe drier in most places than not. Although we do seem to be picking up some significant chances for precipitation in the central Rockies over the next 10-day period. All right, quick check of the upper air, and then we're going to call it a day, because Mondays are usually a tough day for me because I got a lot going on between getting to work and just getting the week underway. By the way, I just opened it up to day 11, and you can see already at day 11, you still have this big blocking high that's up to the north. So that's a significant development here with regards to that. The blocks tend to last, they could last for a few days, they could last for a few weeks, and maybe this one is going to be lasting more than just a few days. So I'll just back it up and we'll watch the evolution of all this. Just keep your eyes on what goes on over Greenland, because this is what we have, over the weekend. Let's just get it back to today. You're starting to see this. You saw from moving it through over the weekend that lower pressure, higher pressures are starting to build right up in Greenland, and there you have it. You see this big upper high just forcing its way southward. And if you watch the jet stream now, watch what happens to the jet stream in the eastern part of the United States. It gets suppressed to the south, and we've got this strong feature here that the model is amplifying as it lives northward. So this is pretty impressive for early May. They don't see this too often. Usually in early May, you're starting to see signs of the weather trying to calm down, and this is not the case this spring. And notice going forward that block is there at least. Now we're at day 10. And it's still kind of there by day 13 and 14, and then starts to weaken a bit, but its signature is still apparent here. That certainly suggests to me that we're going to have cooler than average temperatures as a whole over the next 2 weeks, and we are going to have some wet periods across the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, and probably even parts of the Midwest and Ohio Valley. So areas that are still under some kind of drought strain, and that is gradually diminishing. If in most areas it has pretty much disappeared. The last remaining areas of abnormally dry areas in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states, I think, are going to disappear completely by the time this 2-week stretch is done. Okay, folks, have a great day. Subscribe to my YouTube videos. If you're on my YouTube channel for the first time, hit the little red subscribe button on my channel page, and you'll get notifications every time a new video comes up, and it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Website posts on meteorologistjoechaffee.com, Angry Ben on nycweathernow.com, and I want everybody to have a great, great Monday, okay? Very important you start off the week on a good note. And just keep your eyes on severe weather threats that exist today across anywhere from the Northeast all the way down into the southeastern part of the U.S.